Hey, so this is Ty from Ronin Customs. I figured I'd try doing videos instead of pictures. I think it gives a better impression of what the damage is that I'm fixing. So anyway, this is a nose from a Z1000, Kawasaki Z1000. I think it's a 04, something like that. Anyway, so you can see here we've got a pretty big crack here. It's been filled with like epoxy, so it's been repaired, but as you can see, epoxy doesn't do much of anything. It just try to get a better shot here. Yeah, it's kind of useless. There's a chunk missing out of the nose here, right by the lens, and another chunk missing here. So I'm gonna try to fill those chunks in. Whoever screwed in the turn signals, just used, look at my dinosaur over there, just used wood screws, which is retarded. Hopefully I don't offend anybody, but it's retarded. So we're going to try to pull those screws out and refill it so it's smooth, and then find another alternative for lights. And we got a missing clip here, so you can see on this side we got a clip, and this side is missing, so I'm going to try to repair that too. So this is a pretty mangled part, but hopefully you can make it look half decent. It won't look perfect, but we'll make it half decent. So I'll do an update after I get some done on it. Thanks. Alright, I just wanted to take a second and address what I imagine to be a pretty common problem. A lot of people will get in an accident, crack their fairings, whatever, and they think, oh shit, I'll just go to the store and I'll pick up some epoxy and we'll just glue this shit back together, it'll work just fine. And unfortunately it doesn't work, and then by the time you get it all glued and it's all stuck on there, you realize that it's not going to work, and you can't really get it off because it's glued on there without actually taking and making your fairings look like this. However, I just want to encourage people to not use epoxy. Try to figure out how to do this on your own in a way that will work for you temporarily. A couple times, like something that will work, drill a hole on one side, so you drill a hole here, and you drill a hole here, and you zip tie it together. And that works better than epoxy. It actually holds together, it stays, it doesn't look great, but neither does epoxy. But at least you're not adding stuff that takes a while to like sand off and prep and fix. Like, all I had to do was sand epoxy off. I haven't even gotten into really like fixing the scuffs on the plastic or anything. Sorry, it's not coming into focus for whatever reason. There we go. But I haven't even really gotten into fixing the scuffs, right? But look at my pad. It's just filled with that stupid epoxy stuff. I have to swap out. I'm on my third pad now, and I haven't even really burnt through much of the paint. So in the future, if you have an accident, do not try to glue your plastic back together. Just use a zip tie or take it directly to get fixed. Don't use this stuff. It's no good. Hey, so alright, so we got a big chunk of this plastic repaired. It was pretty mangled. There was a lot of cracks and like spider webs and stuff. So looks pretty beat up still. It's not very finished at all yet, but we still maintained a pretty good shape, and hopefully we can make it look pretty close to stock. Whenever this happens, it'll never look exactly perfect. I mean, you'd have to be a Michelangelo with plastic welding, but it'll look pretty darn good when we're done. So next we're going to move on to replacing this piece here. I'm going to fabricate a new piece of plastic. That's why it's on this sheet of paper, and trace it out and see if I can make a new piece and weld it in. So we're going to start there, and then we got to move on to this one here and sand it all down, probably use some filler. And alright, we got a fabricated piece in here. It went well. It's drying right now, or cooling rather, and when it's really hot it'll still move around, so I want to let it like set up, make sure, see right here it's at the right angle, so you can, if it melts and wiggles around, you gotta reposition it, let it cool, and move on. So you can see we're doing both sides of each. Little less important to be pretty on the inside, but the inside is where we fill extra plastic, so to give it some sturdy or some stability, so it doesn't end up cracking again. So once this thing cools down, I'll clean it up. We'll cut the rough edge off and smooth it out a little bit, and then I'll probably fill a little more plastic in back We'll also add a little bit of Bondo in back too to help strengthen it after we fill it. So that's where we're at now. Alright, we got it all trimmed up. Looks like we got a pretty good shape there. See if I can get focus here. Looks like we get a good shape, so I'm going to let it cool. It'll still take a lot of prep and sanding and stuff, but that spot is filled. We're going to move on to the hardest part. It's going to be this area here, because I don't know if you can see it, but see, it's not just a flat surface like the other one. It's a kind of shaped surface, so it's going to take quite a bit of work, but I think I'll get it. Anyway, I'll show you when. Alright, so we got that part mostly filled there. It was really difficult. It took me about an hour or so to kind of shape it. It seems to fit in there pretty well. Obviously, it's pretty rough right now. We'll have to go in and sand it. We'll probably have to use some Bondo and fill. But you can see it's pretty darn close. And you can see here there's like a really sharp kind of angle there. Looks pretty close to that side. I won't really know if it's good until I get access to the actual lights. Without the headlight, I can't make sure that it's perfect, but at least for now this gives me a starting point until I get access to the lights. So it's pretty full. I'm going to let it cool off. It's still kind of warm, and then I'll start sanding. Alright, so this is after a bit of sanding. You can see like the darker areas are the places that need to get filled a bit. We're going to fill those holes too. I'm still debating on whether or not I'm going to plastic fill them or if I'm going to just fill them with Bondo. That hole's kind of big. I might have to fill them with plastic. But we're starting to get smoother. We're starting to get a little bit of shape here. So not too bad. There was also a crack down here we didn't know about before we started, so that got fixed. Kind of see the inside, how that looks. So no real need to clean up the inside too much as long as it doesn't hit any parts. That's all right. I'm a little worried about the headlights still, but as soon as I get the bike over here, we'll try to fit it and then grind out what we need, don't need, etc. Still got to fix this tab, so I'll probably start working on that right now. All right, one last quick look. I added a tab on the back here. It's not the prettiest thing in the whole world, but I had to reinforce it on the side. So I don't know if you can see here. I added a side piece to it. Here's the metal fitting that goes on it. Now, this part will fit back on the bike even without this tab and fitting, but you know, if I'm doing it, I might as well make an effort to make it a little stronger. Not entirely certain that thing will stay on there, but I did my best to kind of glue it in with plastics, so hopefully it turns out. Anyway, we're going to start filling it with Bondo and sanding it down a little more, so next video or next clip should at least be, it'll be more pink, but hopefully it'll be a little bit prettier. Alright, just started the filler. Sorry, this flash is kind of bright here. So just started the filler. You can see just kind of every place that needed to be sanded and smoothed over just got filled. Filled the little holes from the turn signals. I'm not entirely certain that's going to work. I'll find out after I sand if it stays full or not, but we'll see. Not a big deal if it doesn't. Yeah, anyway. Now I got to let it sit for a few hours and dry. I'm going to put it in the booth with the heater on, so maybe I can get it to cure faster. And then sanding again in a little bit. So, yeah. Alright, quick update for you guys here. Hey, all the Bondo's set up and dried, so we got some sanding on. All these little spots, I can't really get too close here because the camera doesn't want to focus that close, but all these little spots that are still pink were low spots in the plastic. You can see here the inside's a little bit rough. I got to get in there by hand. This is just after I did it with the power sander. But man, it's starting to look like an actual solid one piece of plastic. So we're getting real close. You can see the holes are filled, nice and smooth. Doesn't look like they'll pop out, so we're just going to try that and see what happens. They don't feel loose at all. So just I got to fill in a couple more spots. After sanding, I found a couple of voids that I missed, so sorry. I wish my camera did a better job of focusing here. Oh, there it goes. Alright, so you can kind of see here, these little dark black spots are empty, so I got to go in and refill them. There's a couple more right here. I don't know, just once I sanded it, the filler must not have gotten in those little cracks, but it's pretty smooth. So just a little more filler and we'll be good to go. Found a couple other just small scuffs. I figure why not fix some little teeny dings here and there. If I'm going to do it, I might as well do it all, right? So I'll take another video once we update. Alright, so we got Bondo in here. This is the inside of the fairing. This is where the biggest, weakest part of the fairing was. There was the most cracks. It was cracked all the way through. This is where the most spider webs was. So I wanted to make sure that I filled it in nice and thick with some Bondo just to add some structural support. Kind of makes it more structural, especially considering this is part of the fairing that supports the most weight without that broken part. You know, the biggest part here isn't structural at all. It's all cosmetic, but the part back here supports the weight. So we want to make sure that we got a nice clean fix there, that it's nice and strong. So just added some more filler. I got to go in and sand it again. Also, you'll notice I gobbed on a bunch here. I want a little extra to play with so I can get the shape right. So that's mostly just cosmetics. So we also got hopefully you can see the scuffs, windshield. So while this stuff is setting up, I'm going to take and I got to remove this decal if I can figure out how, and that decal might be okay. I just have to clean it up a little bit. But I'm going to try to get rid of some of these scuffs and polish this up, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, just a little bit bonus video to go with the while the part's drying in the box. Just that was that scuffed up windshield. You can see we sort of cleaned it up here. It's sanded right now. I got to go over it with a finer sandpaper, and then another finer sandpaper, and then another finer sandpaper, and then polish. But it should look something like that by the time we're done. So hopefully, I got rid of both of those decals. Couldn't keep the bottom one. It just was in the way. So still got a few scratches here. Gonna go sand them out and keep working at it. Alright, just about a quarter of the way done through polishing. Just kind of want to show off what's going on here. You can see this is the sanded area. You can see all the scuffs are pretty much gone. You actually can't see any of the scuffs at all. There's one teeny little mark right there. It's hard to see because of the light, but there's a little mark there. I can't get through it though, so it's just going to have to stay. You can see I polished a little bit. I need to buy a new polisher. My polisher is like one of those little teeny hand polishers, and it's not very good, and I need to get new pads and stuff. So this part is going to have to wait a little bit, but at this point all the filler's dried now on the fairing, so I'm going to go through and start on that, and then I'll give you guys another video in a second. Alright, so it looks like all the repair work is done. Let's see if I can get some close-ups here. Here are the 3 holes that needed to be filled. This is after all the plastic weld. All those, the light spots you see are, if I can get focus. There we go. The light spots you see are all filler, so everything is nice and smooth. Doesn't look smooth, I guess, but it is smooth. So this was the high spot. Again, it's not going to look exactly like stock, but God, it's going to look a lot better than a big gaping hole. So we are looking really close to done here. Going to talk to the owner and see about maybe doing some primer. Just get him ready for his paint job. He's waiting to get his tank done, but maybe we can get this thing primed and looking good, and then go on from there. So that's pretty much it. That's start to finish. I'm going to give it a quick wipe down. I'll take another short video after I clean it up. It's all dusty right now. But it's all prepped and everything. You can see I sanded pretty much everything, just make sure it's ready for primer. You can see here I filled in a little bit on that tab that needed to be replaced. Just reinforced it a little bit with Bondo. A little Bondo in there. I might throw a little more in there just to strengthen it up a bit. I'll have to see. Anyway, I'll be back. There it is, all cleaned up. A little better lighting here, maybe. See. All right. There it is, all cleaned up. Looking pretty good. It's about ready. As soon as it dries, it's ready for primer. Alright, thanks for watching. We're here in the booth. Just sprayed a coat of primer on here. It's not perfect. Like I said, there's no way to make something with that much damage look OEM. But the primer's gonna smooth out a little bit. It's gonna have a little bit. You can see some orange peel here. That's all gonna get wet sanded. So the way it looks here in the booth is definitely not how it's gonna look once we get it out of the booth. But should be a huge improvement. You can see here, this is where that whole piece got put in. All these little fuzzies on the edge all get sanded off, no problem. Here's another chunk that was missing. We got a nice curve in there. It actually looks better than I originally thought it would, so that looks good. Little imperfections here, no big deal, but as you can see, it's a pretty big difference from where we first started. So I'm gonna spray one more coat of primer on, let it cure overnight with the heater, and sand it up tomorrow. I'll take another video tomorrow. Alright, one last video here. Spent the whole morning sanding, trying to get this ready to paint, but we got primer on it. It's ready to go. Sorry, I know it's kind of bright out here. I wanted to give you guys a good shot of the repairs. You should be able to see. It's almost like you can't tell it was ever damaged. Almost. I mean, if you know what you're looking for. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really happy how it turned out. Hopefully the owner likes it. This will be the last video in the series because we have to wait for the rest of the bike to come in, and the tank has to be repaired, and then we'll paint. So I'll probably do a paint video afterwards, but this was just a couple of videos showing you some repair techniques, I guess. Like I said, it wasn't instructional, it was more just a demo of what I do over here. So anyway, thanks for watching all the videos.